Hi, my name is William, and I am a 2L at Vanderbilt Law. And today I'm going to share my story about my journey to law school, and hopefully this is helpful to anyone that's thinking about law school or is currently in the application process. I always didn't know that I wanted to be a lawyer, and I wanted to go to law school. I was originally a biology major. My going into a college, and I was actually on a pre-med track. I quickly realized that I did not have it in me, and that this was not a great fit after taking a more advanced biology class and just looking at my course load. And I thought I wanted to die thinking about staying in an OChem class. Um, and then I thought about what really the coursework that where I really thrived in high school, and it was in my AP government and history classes and comparative government and literature. So I switched my major to international relations. I studied international politics with a minor in French and Francophone studies and Asian studies at Georgetown University. Um, I didn't really want. I didn't really seriously consider going to law school until I took a class with a Vanderbilt alum, actually, um, called International Law and Human Rights in Latin America, and that completely opened up a whole new world for me. I originally had thought that I was going to go to law school right after graduation, but unfortunately, life had different plans for me. I graduated in 2020 with the COVID pandemic, and then I was also diagnosed with PTSD my last year of college. So a lot of things were on pause, and I decided to put off law school. I used that time instead to get healthy, do what I needed to do, and I took my time with my law school application process. And then I went to work instead of going to law school. I worked in DC at a federally funded research and development center for 3 to 4 years. I worked in policy and research, and that was I learned a lot during that time. It gave me a lot of time and space to think about how I wanted to form my application, and I spent a lot of that time as well making sure that law school was right for me. um, I did the public policy thing, I did the research, um, and that ultimately led to my decision to affirmably go to law school. And then I also spent a lot of that time working with my therapist, making sure that I was in the right headspace, that I was healthy, and that I had all the tools and resources that I needed going into law school. Law school is tough, and I wanted to make sure that I had the cushion, the support network in place. Um, and the application process was pretty challenging. It was not linear. I didn't hit off the ground running with it. Um, I took a break after graduation. Between that and studying for the LSAT, there were also times where studying for the LSAT was just difficult because of the nature of starting work. As a young professional, there's a lot that's expected and demanded of you, and there were times where I didn't prioritize necessarily my LSAT studying or my law school application process. There was ebbs and flows. Um, I had to make some sacrifices, and sometimes that looked like taking some time off. That looked like sometimes sleepless hours. There's also busy seasons, and so I would have to plan all of that out. And so my law school application process took a little longer than I intended to, but I think it worked out all in the best. I also had very supportive of I also had a very supportive team behind me. They knew that I was applying to law school, and they were very supportive. Some of them wrote my letters of recommendation, and um, I am so grateful for that. But yes, that the application process was a little bit weird. I also put off law school for a little while because of just friends and family stuff. One of my best friends was getting married in DC, and I wanted to be part of the wedding. I knew that if I went to law school right away, that this was just going to be a kiss and go for the wedding, and I wanted to be actually a part of it and engaged And so there were some choices that I made in my entire law school process. So why Vanderbilt Law? Um, One is that I've always been a big fan of Vanderbilt ever since high school. In high school, I was always wearing this Vanderbilt shirt, and but I never applied to Vanderbilt for undergrad, and things just didn't work its way out. I never applied, and I thought, why not now? And then on top of that, after spending 7 years on the East Coast, I wanted to change of pace. I wanted a change of scenery, and I was missing home. And this Vanderbilt Law School is like one of the best law schools in the South, and but it still has a national reach. And I thought that this was like the best of both worlds. It fit my career aspirations, but it also had this personal feel and pull to it. Um, and then while I was deliberating which law school to go to, my professor, who actually inspired me to change my major and become a lawyer, she was in DC at the time. We met up and we talked. And what that I noticed that made me feel like this was the right choice and right place for me was that she told me about how even like one in Nashville and then at Vanderbilt Law that like people looked out for each other and that they really had your back, and that it was a great community where you can feel supported. And she said that that carried even after graduation well into the career. She was at the State Department, and she was telling me like even then, like when they're making big career choices or anything in their life is happening, they'll hit each other up and they'll consult each other and they'll help each other out. And even after all these years, they really looked out for each other, and that made it very feel like Vanderbilt was very exceptional and a good collegial place to be. There's so much more detail and so much more twists and turns of my law school journey, but that was a SparkNotes version of it, and I hope you found that very helpful. Everybody's law school journey is very different. Each one's unique. There's no one right path to get to law school. Everyone's journey looks different. But if you're in the application process, you're thinking about law school, we're here for you as resources. If you have any comments or questions, please drop a comment down below, or please reach out to us on any of our social media pages. Um, I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you all around.